How's it going, everybody? It's your boy Mike from Seattle, and today I have a very special guest with us. The head of our mastermind texting group, Caleb, who's also mentored by Mark. Those of you who've met Mark on my channel before, Caleb is here to talk to us about how he is absolutely destroying me when it comes to investing in rentals. Caleb, say hi.
Hey, everybody, like Mike said, I am not actually destroying him. We were very neck and neck until about 3 months ago, and I got just by pure luck, the universe weighed in my favor, and I got this deal done that I'm excited to tell you guys about. That kind of was a launching pad to where I'm at now, but I'm sure Mike will be right there with me along the way.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'd like to say that I will, but I don't know about that. So, real little background on Caleb. He's in the military. Which branch?
The Coast Guard,
And you fly helicopters, right?
yeah.
You stud. Man, yeah, there's no way I'm keeping up with you, my guy. So, Caleb bought his first house in 2017, and he now has 11 rentals in less than a 4 year time frame. He has military income, and for those of you who don't know, military, like law enforcement, I mean, we're not paid like doctors, we're not rich or anything like that. So, what I wanted him to do today was to break down a few of the different deals that he's done and hopefully inspire you, the viewer, to be successful like him. So, Caleb, if you wouldn't mind telling us about your very first deal, how did you get started?
So in 2017, I was in my senior year of college, getting ready to join the Coast Guard as a commissioned officer and go to flight school. Um, and like spring break of my senior year, I started reading on Bigger Pockets, which is, for those that may not know, is a website and a forum for real estate education. Um, I was going to be moving to the Panhandle of Florida in a city called Pensacola, and so during spring break, with a couple months to go of college, I went down there and visited and looked at properties, and made a couple offers on some houses. And I ended up buying a primary residence for $84,000. It was a 3 bed, 2 bath, 1,200 square foot house that was someone else's flip. So like when you step in the door, there's new paint, new carpet, new appliances, all that kind of stuff. So it was pretty much good to go. I used financing, something called a VA loan, which is available to military and veterans, that essentially lets you use like conventional financing, but you can do 0% down payment. And the reason that is because the government, as a benefit to military members, is willing to insure uh, that 20% um, of the mortgage, so that way the bank isn't risking, losing their investment. There's other ways to do that. Similarly, there's something called the FHA loan, that you can do something in the ballpark of 3 to 5% down payment on a house for primary residence.
Mhm.
And then also for conventional, it's possible to do as low as 5% down, that I've seen.
Mhm.
So, like on this $84,000 house, there would have been multiple ways, civilian or military, that I could have gotten into it for just a few $1,000s. In my case, I paid about $4,000 out of pocket for closing costs. And I didn't really have any money, much beyond that at the time. My net worth was in the ballpark of zero, plus or minus, when I bought that house.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
So wait, so
So,
now this was your first house. Was this your where you live right now? Was this the house you decided to buy to live in, or was this your first rental?
so that was a primary residence, at the time, and I lived in and out of it, for about just under 3 years, from 2017 to January of 2020. So once I moved into it, I didn't have any roommates or anything. It was 3 bedrooms, and I decided that it was a bigger percentage of my income than I wanted to be spending on my housing.
Mhm.
So I actually stumbled upon Airbnb, and in like one day, I read up on Airbnb and made a listing for one of my extra bedrooms. About a week after that, I had my first guest. Um, it was like, I don't know, $25 for a night or something like that. And I did that for a while. And all the money I made, I just reinvested it like I was running my own little play business.
Mm.
And so I used that $25 and the next 25 and the next 30 and the next 35. to buy nicer furniture for that guest bedroom, got a
Mhm.
nicer bed to replace the janky twin mattress on the floor or whatever that I started out with.
Poor tenants.
Yeah. So ended up, with like actually had an end table and a lamp and a queen bed and nicer blankets and sheets.
Nice.
And I just kept rolling it all back in. Then I did the second spare bedroom and I was renting them out together and that brought in more money. Um, and after doing this for a while and it was, somewhat automated, I didn't really feel like interacting with the tenants sometimes. I
Mhm.
just wanted to go be with my friends and not have to go through the social effort of talking to people. Like
Right.
I'm fairly introverted sometimes.
Mhm.
And it's just easier if I would just leave. I had it all set up. I had an electronic uh, key code on the door. I had a little like ring door camera kind of thing,
Mhm.
so I could see when they got in, make sure that it didn't look like they were having any issues. So then I realized like I'm leaving my house for the weekend all the time and going on little trips or hanging out with friends for the weekend anyway. Why not list it as an entire house and charge twice as much?
Right.
So I did. I would just lock up my master bedroom, have all of my stuff hidden in there,
Mhm.
and do that. And so it made it more profitable. And after I was doing that for a while, I was like, man, why don't I do this during the week too? So I rented another house a mile down the street, moved into that on a what's called a master lease that let me then get roommates on subleases.
Okay.
So, for example, I was paying $800 a month and I charged each roommate 350. So we split it three ways, but I was only paying like $100. They were
Nice.
paying a fair a fair rate. They were getting a good deal. I was getting a good deal because I put it together. So I
Mhm.
lived on $100 plus, I don't know, $50 for my share of the utilities. While my Airbnb house, which the mortgage was about 575 a month, that was pulling in the summer as high as 2,500 a month
Dang.
during
That's good
beach
cash
season.
flow.
Yeah, and in the winter, cheaper rates, less occupancy, it was still like enough to cover the mortgage and utilities.
Mhm.
So I did all that, while working very hard for periods of time. I was in flight school with the Navy, which it would be like a couple months of where I go to work for like 5 hours a week, but then it would be 6 months of working 16 hours a day, 6 days a week. So it ebbed and flowed, and sometimes I was more available than others.
Hmm.
Um, anyway, so I did this Airbnb thing for a while. I did the roommate thing in the other house for a while. That has ups and downs, as you guys know. Being a working adult, being a professional, and dealing with a variety of people that do or don't respect your sleep can be a big deal when you're busy
Right.
um, and sleep deprived and all that at times. So I learned a lot doing that, but it was lucrative. It was a sacrifice I was willing to make to get to where I wanted to be in order to pretty much eliminate that housing cost. That was my
Mhm.
version of house hacking.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
So,
and
so you
go ahead.
you you bought the first property. When you initially bought it, did you ever intend to be a landlord or split it, or did you just sort of kind of continue to stumble into it?
When I was shopping for that very first house, when I was still a college student, I had an end goal in mind of having rental properties, of
Where
having a
where did
lot of
that
them.
come from? Like what made you inspired you to want to own rentals? Did you read a book, follow your YouTube channel, bunch of
I
Lamborghinis
read
on Instagram?
I read several Bigger Pockets books early on,
Okay.
and I think it's just man, it's just one of those things like I was just born with it or
Okay.
something. So when I found it, I knew
Okay.
that that's what I wanted.
Okay. I understand that. So so you bought the first one in 2017, but you didn't buy your second one all the way until 2020, July of 2020. So what took so long between number one to number two?
So I bought the first one 2017 in I think July 2017. Started flight school in August, and then I finished flight school December of 2020. Uh, and then like 6, 7 months later, bought my number two, and that was basically it boiled down to I spent that time saving up money,
Okay.
and working a lot of hours. And then after I got out of flight school, it was a major transition to a better work-life balance.
Mm,
I left Pensacola, I moved to Miami, started my first big kid job. I mean, I was getting paid a big kid salary during all of flight school, but getting treated like a little baby and working,
right.
60, 70 hours a week for a lot of it. So I didn't feel like I had the time or effort or whatever available during that time. And then start of 2020, then I did.
Okay. Okay. So really, the most of the delay was a combination of saving money and then also, I mean, you're in the military. You're serving the country. The military's not known for caring that much about your personal life. They're like, hey, you're here to work, bro. You're here to work for us. We own you. My brother's in the army. My best friend's a pilot and flies helicopters as well. Okay. So, so you did deal number one. That got your foot in the door. You started to learn a bit about it. Your second deal, where was it?
Okay, so number two was in a market in the Midwest that you and I know well.
Okay, so your second property was
Yep,
you moving out there. Okay, so that's my second
exactly.
property, same thing. Okay, go ahead.
Yep. Yeah, so this is kind of like my second number one rental story in a way because like the first one happened and then it was, like almost how many years is that? Three years almost on the dot later. Um, that I kind of got spun back up of like I can do this, I'm gonna do this because I thought that in 2017, and then I got just like Spartan kicked in the chest over how difficult my job was that I thought I was going to be able to side hustle during it, and then I
Right.
couldn't at all. It was like way too hard. But now I kind of, knock on wood, now my life is a little bit easier
Hmm.
on the 9 to 5 aspect. So I've been able to do a lot more reading and networking and hustling on trying to find these investments. So anyway, that being said, pretty much 10% of the reason that I got that first one in the Midwest uh, was all of the dozens of books I read, the dozens of phone calls I hopped on with people, um, the hundreds of hours I spent searching and studying and learning how to do the calculations and all that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
The other 90% was meeting a mentor who took me under his wing
Right.
and pretty much was like, "Hey man, here's what I'm doing. You can pretty much just copy it and I'll help you. It's not hard. It's not hard for me to help you. I'm just willing to share my precious resources of a property manager and a lender and sources of deals.
Right.
And here's some better sources of deals. Here's an agent. Here's this. Here's that. Here's all the knowledge you need.
Hmm.
Here's what you need to know about these different areas of this market." So that is my like secret sauce. That was my key to success.
So Mark, the mentor, our mentor, played a big role, right?
Exactly.
Literally the same thing for me. It was I had the first one, house hacking, and I knew I couldn't really afford to do more here in Seattle, and it was just like, and he was like, "Hey man, look at this market. Look at this market. I got one rent. I got five. I got nine. Try it. Try it. Here's my property manager." So same thing. That makes sense. Okay, so you did number one, then you move to the Midwest, and very quickly you go from number two to 11. And included in that, in all your purchases out there, so you did 10 of them out there, you got one six package deal, all seller financed through your own self directed IRA. Is that right? Hey guys, so in the interest of keeping this interview not too long for YouTube, I'm going to break it up into a part one and a part two. So you just heard Caleb talk about how he got his first and second rental and how impactful Mark was in getting his second rental and moving to the same market in the Midwest that your boy, the duly elected sheriff of the internet, invests in. But I want you to stay tuned for part two, which I'm going to release in a couple of days, where Caleb explains how he actually did a six package deal, jumped from 2 rentals to 11 rentals. And remember, my boy Caleb is a blue collar worker in the military, and he's managed to get 11 rentals, and he actually just now closed on his 12th one today in a 4 year period. He's an inspiration to us all. So please leave a comment down below because he does answer the comments in the comments of my section, comment section of my videos. So if you do want to talk to him or ask him questions, show him a little bit of love down there, and we'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching.